Mike Tyson and Jake Paul announced they're fighting on Netflix, by the way, which makes it even more, wow. Saturday, July 20th. And now that you had a second, that's what we're calling this. Now that you had a second, what are your thoughts? You're hearing from both parties now, both camps. Jake Paul saying that it's going to be an honor to be in the ring with one of his childhood heroes. You know, he's being very respectful, which I like. But is that the angle you want to take when you're trying to knock someone's block off, right? You don't want to be too respectful. And now Mike Tyson is sort of stepping into that old Mike Tyson world of, you know, he's going to beat this guy and knock him out.
Rich, do you remember from Tyson Trivia, Mike had nothing but nice things to say about Paul.
Oh,
that he was bringing
kids loved him.
Yeah, that he was bringing fresh eyes to the sport.
Yeah, he liked what he was doing for the sport.
Right. And so when those two stood face to face, I couldn't really take it all that serious.
What are you expecting? What are your thoughts? 877-99 on Fox. I'll give you mine.
When Tyson, like Danny G, first spoke of the Paul brothers and, hey, they're bringing excitement to boxing, and Mike Tyson was all in favor. When asked at that time, which you might say was not that long ago, a couple years ago now. So we got to talk about a couple years ago because we're aging, everybody. I know it's hard to accept the fact that we're all getting older. That was a 55, 56-year-old Mike Tyson.
He's 58 now.
He's going to be 58 by the time this fight happens.
And I think, regardless of what he said a few years ago, there's no interest in me fighting Jake Paul. He said, and I quote, "It's so effing easy. It's too effing easy. I'm a boxer. I'm a fighter.
They asked him.
I'm the former heavyweight champion of the world. It's just so easy for me. It's not even a fight."
He said in response to, Mike, do you think you'd F him up? And to quote Covino/Tyson, what he just said, so effing easy.
So effing easy.
So effing easy. And you do see that sparring video. I know it's a couple of years old now of Tyson before he had that little love fest with Roy Jones where they just hugged for, I
wasn't ready. I wasn't really into that fight, but I'm into this fight. He said that was more of a sparring match. He wasn't that fired up for it, but he's fired up for this one.
How do we know this isn't going to be a glorified sparring match?
We don't know. There's no such thing as a no knockout clause, so you have to assume that they're going to fight and they're going to put it all out there, but what I see happening is a 58-year-old former champion looking like a 58-year-old man. And you're going to see a young, strong Jake Paul doing what we all dread. Knocking down definitely, an old, feeble, 58, slow Mike Tyson. Yeah, he looks good hitting the mitts. But how does he look when a young, strong, taller man is beating him down now at 58? This is not good for Mike Tyson. As much as I want to see him win, as much of a fan as I am, Jake Paul wins this fight easy.
Any final thoughts? At the end of the hour, we were talking about Tyson, Jake Paul, and how you and I are both such big Mike Tyson fans. And I'm not the person I'm not the person that resists the Jake Paul spectacle fights. I've watched them all. I'll be honest. I've purchased some of them. Some others I just watched, but I'm not against it. So when I heard Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, my first thought was, who wouldn't want to watch this? And if you want to be the guy that's like, me, you're the same guy that says, I never watched one episode of Game of Thrones. You're not impressing me. Your stupidity does not impress me. Who wouldn't want to see the outcome of an old-ass Mike Tyson and a 27-year-old influencer-turned-boxer? It's like when Mayweather fought McGregor. You might have said, I'm not into it. But you weren't intrigued to say, ooh, how is round one going to go?
It's intriguing to see what a legend like Mike Tyson still has against a young, hungry fighter like Jake Paul at 27. So, look, think of it from this perspective. Take it back on a Tuesday to the 90s, the early 90s. I mean, you gathered around the TV pay-per-view with all your buddies and your family members to watch any Mike Tyson fight, and you're going to do the same thing in July. And Jake Paul fills seats. He gets people's attention. He's captivating. So you put them together, you have a huge event. You can't deny that. It's intriguing. It's exciting. But it's also going to be very sad. Much like La Reina leaving, sad but true, Mike Tyson's getting knocked out potentially if they fight for real.
But what if he catches him?
Jake Paul is a big dude.
Cove, what if he catches him?
Anybody anything could happen.
Well,
any heavyweight has a puncher's chance.
You also have to. There's other factors.
Still has fast hands.
Danny G, you've seen the fast hands video, but then again, we don't know. These going to be big, puffy boxing gloves that are tougher to knock someone out. I know these are all little factors, right? Size of the ring.
Here's how
many rounds.
I don't want to see an older Mike Tyson limping around a ring.
Yeah, but Danny G, it's like anything, right? This guy has years of ring rust, and it's like trying to compete with somebody like Jake Paul's so in that zone of really taking boxing serious now for 4 years. He's been in the gym. He's sharp. He's on his game right now, where Mike Tyson's just trying to find his step again. So that's what makes it extra challenging. If Mike Tyson never really stopped and he was still active, still fighting or something, like, it's hard to compete. When's the last time you played wiffle ball? Good luck trying to play someone who plays every day. You know what I mean? Like, some 14, 12-year-old kid is going to school you because he plays all the time.
You'll pick it up again. Listen, this might be shocking to you, but I'm not riding my bike around town often. But you know what? My wife and I were in San Francisco. We rented a couple bikes. We actually rode bikes over the Golden Gate Bridge. Within 10 minutes, I was standing up pedaling. I
heard you were in Sausalito. Sausalito.
I took a bike ride into Sausalito. Write that down as the douchiest thing I said all day. But
it's not, actually. That's what's sad about it. Sausalito.
But you realize quickly it is like, quote, riding a bike, which is why it's a great example. Mike Tyson might get in there. Now, here's my stance is this. For all the old heads, and there's a lot of them, and we've seen people on our own COVINO Rich and Fox Sports Radio social media posts. Mike Tyson's going to kill him. Then I urge you, wager. Not because I'm telling you, but because Mike Tyson is a plus 300 or 350 underdog, depending on where you look. So if you are that convinced that no way does this young influencer beat Mike Tyson, then
he's not a young
guy.
Influencer. He's a boxer now. That's the point.
No, but I'm
That's
saying
the point.
If
he's in that game, he's in the zone, he's active.
Dude, let's just say you were a salesperson, salesman, saleswoman. If you're a salesperson and you sell pharmaceuticals, and let's say you got a new job and you got out of that game. If you were to re-enter it years later, you might, like you said, you might be the best at it, but you're going to have to do a little refresh.
Right.
And if Mike Tyson trains, my thought is this. 2 rounds. I think Mike has 2 rounds to land a lucky. Mike Tyson still has that pop. That's what I'm saying. I think you got 2 rounds. You have how long are the rounds going to be in this fight? Because again, that could be another thing that's discussed. Is it 5 minute, 3 minute, 2? Some of these fights.
It's not going to be 5 minutes. It's either going to be 2 or 3 minutes.
But that's what I'm saying. So if you say Mike Tyson has 6 minutes to catch Jake Paul, I think Jake Paul wins the fight.
I think Jake Paul wins the fight. I don't say that. Well, I do say that respectfully because I'm a Mike Tyson fan.
Would it upset us
we all are?
Would it upset us all to see
no
Mike?
one wants to see that.
Would it upset you? Would it hurt your 80s, 90s kid's heart to
because
see Mike Tyson?
Time is undefeated, bro.
Jake Paul's just so unlikable to me.
Yeah.
And like, if he was an underdog and we were like excited, like, oh, there's someone we like is trying to take on like the mammoth of Mike Tyson, and even though Tyson's a little old, but because Jake Paul's so unlikable, it's just a lose situation for me.
Jake Paul is a young, 27, strong, hard-punching young man.
Right?
What I'm hearing is Spot is saying he has a very punchable face.
He does.
Dude, is it a?
So we would love to see Tyson knock him out.
I would love to see him get knocked
we
out.
all want to see Tyson knock him out.
But is it not going to happen? It's just going to make me sad.
It's going to make you so sad.
Is it a proper assessment to say Logan Paul way more likable than Jake Paul? Like Logan Paul, I sort of like the guy.
Yeah,
Jake
he's
Paul?
got his prime thing. He's just teamed up with the Lakers. I don't know if you saw that.
I think
he's a great wrestler.
But Jake Paul, though, you could argue, hey, you don't like him? Good for him. He has the gimmick working. The same way you were like, I hate Mayweather. Well, if you're a disliked fighter in any game, UFC, boxing, anything, that's a good thing. You're getting box office numbers. Is this going to be one of those Netflix pays them $50 million each, like a Chappelle comedy special? They got money at Netflix. So
I want Tyson to lay him out like Allen in The Hangover. Just like walk up to him and just
boom.
He's just too old, man.
We want that spot.
Tyson should walk out to Phil Collins.
Right? I think every human being, you could correct me if I'm wrong, because there's some people that don't like Tyson's past because alleged things he did, right?
He's become so, we talked about that yesterday, shedding your reputation. He's become so likable and lovable.
If Mike Tyson,
he's soft now.
If Mike Tyson, who even says, I don't got the fighting guts anymore. If Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, would every 35-plus-year-old person be the happiest they've been in years?
Yeah, we all want to see that. Like, of course.
Any like roughly 40-ish or older, especially fight fan, if Mike Tyson knocks this kid out, it's gonna be, people will rejoice.
You know who I want to hear from?
I don't want to hear anyone say fixed either. Like, if let's say Mike Tyson does knock him out,
That's another thing.
and people say, "Oh, fixed."
It's a lose-lose, I think.
I want to hear from Roy Jones Jr. I really do. I want to hear from Roy Jones, which I haven't. I've been waiting and looking.
He has not texted you?
Yeah, I've been waiting for a response in my DMs. But he got in the ring with Tyson 3-4 years ago now.
You want to know what he feels?
What? Yeah,
Did
did
Tyson
he
still
feel his
have it?
power? Did he still have it? Was he impressed? Like, what is his opinion on his chances against a young Jake Paul? I'm scared for Mike Tyson because when we see him down on the canvas, we see our childhood over. We see our childhood hero.
Well, how old was George Foreman when he won the belt again?
He was young. In retrospect, he was 40-something, 41 maybe.
No. You know what it reminds me of? There's it's funny because my wife and I, we're talking about this when it comes to looking good and feeling good because we just got back from the beach and you see a lot of spring breakers when you vacation this time of year.
He was 45.
When you see a lot of spring breakers and you're like, those guys aren't in shape. They have abs because they're 20. Those girls have nice asses, not an ounce of cellulite. Not because they work out, because they're 20.
We're going to see, as the meme goes, Glass Joe defeat Mike Tyson on Saturday, July 20th, and we're all going to hate it.
But the same way my wife and I looked at these younger people on the beach, we're like, I was in that shape. Not hard when you're 20. It's hard to do when you're 40 or 50 or 30-something.
What if you had Mike Tyson go up against someone like Hulk Hogan? Would that pull in the same type of... I mean, they're two old guys, so I feel like it'd be more, even, right?
What if they're going to wrestle? Hulk Hogan's
Maybe. Long
Lorena,
hugs,
I don't know if
right?
anyone ever told you, WWE. It's not
the same thing?
I think I know Hulk Hogan.
That's the note Lorena's going to go out on. What about Hulk Hogan? So, as my wife and I look at these 20-somethings, we're like, you know what? It doesn't take the effort when you're that young to be ripped, to be in shape, to party and drink and do drugs, or whatever the hell you do. At 40 or 50, you have 2 or 3 cocktails, you got a hangover the next day. When you're in college, you're a keg stand boy,
and he's
acting a fool.
58,
and he's 58.
okay?
You can't so when my wife and I, who try our best to be relevant and stay in shape and do everything, you look around the beach, you're like, everyone's got a perfect ass and abs because they're 20.
Yeah, dude.
Jake Paul is 27.
Slower. He looks good hitting the gloves. I get all that, and I give him all the credit in the world for getting fight ready and getting in shape, and he looks great when he trains. But
yeah. And then I turned to my wife and I said something that's also relevant here. Said to her, I go, see all these guys though? I bet you none of them know how to please these women.
Wow.
Because that comes with experience.
Wow.
Which you could say ties into the fight game. And there's a song, a country song. I know you're not a big country guy, but a song I learned from my wife when we first started dating. You know the song, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once
The great Toby Keith.
as I ever was. The guy that sang Red Solo Cup passed away recently.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Toby Keith has a song, and it's on my country mix. When I first met my wife, that was sort of a popular song. And when you think about it, Mike Tyson doesn't need to dominate the fight. He needs to be as good once as he ever was. He needs one 1991 Mike Tyson punch in the tank somewhere. Just one little slick Tyson. Tyson fights low, right? He needs one. Just one. Does he have one in him, Covino? Does he have one?
I hope he hits that start button and catches him with a little uppercut. I hope.
Does he have one?
I hope he knocks him out. I do. So you're
the first guy. You're the first guy. Every time we watch a fight, Covino always says, puncher's chance.
I still believe in that. I mean, especially heavyweights, right? So we're going to take one phone call. This was our chance to talk about it. We let it process. We let it simmer. And
I'll tell you what I'm not doing.
We all want to see Tyson win. I just don't see it happening.
I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not betting 370 to win 100 on Jake Paul. So if anything, for the fun of it, for the old schoolness of it, and being that we're kids of the 80s and 90s, it wouldn't be. I think I may be the guy that throws 100 on Tyson. 100 wins 300. If you lose, entertainment.
Let me end on this, too. Although this is exciting, the fight we should be caring about and talking about is
Munguia?
Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. It's not Benavidez like we all wanted, but Munguia is a former
fighter,
champion, man. He's great. You got 2 Mexican warriors going at it on May 4th, so that's the one to look out for. That's a legitimate fight. This is a fun spectacle we're all going to tune into, but I think we're all going to be let down. Dave and Cincy, wrap it up.
Hey, how you doing? Good show. Love the show.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
I got 3 points. I'm a little fired up at your guys' philosophy on this, so I'm gonna try to get them across. First,
cool.
Rich, you were saying, why don't you bet on Tyson? Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I think the fight is not real and it's rigged. If it was 100% real, Tyson would kill him, and I would put any amount of money I could find.
But why do you think that, though? Honestly, Dave, let's break it down. I'm 44. How old are you, Dave, if you don't mind me asking?
54.
Okay,
I grew up a huge boxing fan. My brother was a big football boxer.
So while I was a teenager, you were a guy in your prime in your 20s watching Mike Tyson annihilate every human being in his path. He had guys. It was like
way bigger than him. Yeah.
You'd order a pay-per-view and be sad because in round 1 Tyson would defeat champions, not chumps. So I get what you're saying, but Dave, you're in your 50s. Imagine fighting some 20-year-old kid that's been training every day, and you're just getting off the couch like, yeah, I guess I'll do it.
But you act like Paul's some great fighter, and I'll go to Covino, who talks about him being this, that, and the other. Every fight is a spectacle. If he's so good, why ain't he fighting anybody that's coming up the ranks in the heavyweight or light heavyweight division? He's fighting all spectacle fights.
Yeah, Dave, I don't think Mike Tyson's taken a fall for Jake Paul. I really don't, because I think the world wants to see.
Come on, man.
But you think Mike Tyson's gonna? I don't know, man.
Yes,
I hate
do,
Are you an NFL's rig guy too, or no?
No, I'm not a rig guy. Trust me. I don't blame refs. I don't say rig.
Okay, then you have a fair statement.
All these Paul fights are just, I think, spectacles, which is fine. Let him make all the money in the world.
But if Jake Paul has enough power to knock out a young, tough Tyron Woodley who fights in the UFC, you don't think he can knock out a 58-year-old Mike Tyson? It's sad, dude. Tyson doesn't need it, but it's a major payday. He leaves some bag. He leaves some money for his family. Yeah. I get it.
I don't want it to be
He's a prize
fixed.
The it's a big prize.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, man. He's not the only one that feels that way, so I get it.
Saying also what's up to my buddy Jag, who's listening in our Detroit affiliate. What's up, Jag?
What up, Jag?
But yeah, you know what? It's something that Danny G, we were on vacation, but we all hit each other up like, did we make the pitch to get there? We got to contact people. If anything, Dallas, Jerry's house.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Tyson, Jake Paul. Don't you feel like that's an event we need to be at as a show?
Look out, Arlington.